Hi, everyone. John Landers here again for Connecting Through Music, part of T-Bames. And I'm here to interview Edwin Vazquez, who actually performed for me back in June of 2013 at Gibson Guitar Studios, as well as at the Cutting Room in August. Edwin, thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for what you do for us.
I appreciate that. Yeah, well, my first question would be, what was your impression or experience when you came to our showcases back in the day?
Well, I can give you a perspective from a few level I can give you a few perspectives. One of them being that you're very professional. It's great to work with you, and
Thank you.
of course your standards are very high. And we did work. I remember it was at the Gibson studio, right?
Yeah,
Right, which is
yeah.
a wonderful room in New York. It's
Unfortunately, they're no longer there because of the pandemic, I'm guessing.
yeah. But
They shut down, and even Toshi shut down. The only one left is the cutting room that I know of all the venues we worked there.
yeah, so much has gone down. I mean, so much has happened since, right? It's too bad.
So my next
Still,
question is,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, it still was just a privilege to be a part of that history. Yeah.
It is. When did you first realize that music was your calling? When you got what was your thing the moment when you wanted to get into music? What motivated you?
Well, I was raised around a family of artistic people. My father was a bolero artist. My father, Roberto Vasquez, was a bolero artist, and
Hmm.
he sang and played, and I experienced the rehearsals at home since I was a little kid. And then my older brother too, Roberto Vasquez Jr.
Oh, yes.
So I got two genres. I got the genre of bolero music, which is, if you wanna, you can sort of view it like American standards, but the Spanish, like Besame Mucho, that kind of a, and it usually consists of trios and harmonies. This is what I grew up listening to, which helped in sharpening up my harmonic ear as far as learning
Hmm.
doing things. And then my older brother would listen to what they call balada music, consisting of artists like Nino Bravo, from all over the world, Rafael, Jose, Sandro. So I grew up Camilo Sesto, Juan Bao. These artists are known for their vocal abilities, for their vocalization, and it was very of it's a very eclectic approach to music, sort of like a fusion, but way back then. So experiencing that, my father's music, being raised in New York, you get
Hmm.
all the other influences of jazz. I was, as a 14-year-old, I was already 13-year-old. I was in love with bossa nova. You know,
Ah,
I
yeah.
don't know why, but I was. And then I was always attracted, John, to artists that maybe at my age you wouldn't expect a young man to be attracted to. I
Hmm.
remember Mitchell, you know, I remember buying her music. It was way back. And listening again to Jobim, and then to all these artists my brother presented to me. And I always liked the side B of records.
Interesting. Okay.
I wasn't really attracted to the hits. I was more attracted to the uh, non what weren't considered the hits. You
Hmm.
know, yeah,
So you just answered my next question about who your influences were. That's good.
yeah.
Um, what do you find has been the challenges in your music career from 10 years until now? With the transition of the COVID and everything else, what challenges have you experienced over the several years you've been doing this?
You mean since younger or since COVID?
Well, from day one on, I mean, as you
Day one.
transition, what were the challenges you found building your music career?
I want to be completely transparent about this, okay? Because I think it
Yeah.
offered other artists like myself and even anyone just that what might be a healthy perspective.
Hmm.
I think from a musical standpoint, I always felt that I I saw things from an eclectic point of view where, you know, I appreciated so many styles of music. I really couldn't really decide on one, and I never believed there was and I still don't quite believe that there's a need to stick to one genre. And held on to that, and now everyone's mixing music like crazy. I personally
Hmm.
believe it was always done. Even when you listen to the Doors, you strip it down, it's bossa nova. You
Hmm.
know, the Doors, it's bossa
Yeah.
nova. When you listen to Michael Jackson's "Rock with You," it has the chord progression is so jazzy. You know, you got to strip it down from all the decorative
Yes.
elements, and it's jazzy music. The changes are beautiful if you
Hmm.
just put it on the guitar. So, you know, a lot of these producers come into the picture, and then they're just trying to implement the modern take, you know, and apply it
Hmm.
so they can create what we call a hit. You know, so I felt always like I just wanted to do what I felt, what I believed in, and I always approached music also from a spiritual standpoint as well, where I
Hmm.
felt that I wanted to perform with purpose. You know, as uh, I felt that there was a responsibility to what we do, just as there is to a doctor. You know,
Right.
to any, you know, to any profession, that it goes beyond just being an entertainer, and that entertaining should also hold its responsibility to the
Hmm.
audience as far as what we're communicating and how we're educating the young folks. So I always tried to be responsible. I wasn't concerned about doing the hoochie mama hit, you know, anything like that.
Yeah.
But to just write good music, and then the progressions. I'm sure artists listening right now understand what I mean. You got the two chords, and those often become hits. You know, they're
Hmm.
easy to achieve. You know, but
Okay.
in the '40s, you had music where was more complicated. So what would hinder me often was uh, uh, ignoring the commercial approach and just doing what I
Hmm.
love. I felt that
Interesting.
role, and then also me learning as an artist. You know, you have to be honest with yourself and know what you're lacking,
Hmm.
and also the way you're raised, and your own insecurities, man. Let's be real. Sometimes you're insecure, and you feel like I need this, I need that. Your perspectives play a big role on how you view yourself, will play a big role on what you're going to achieve. So if you have these other values that, let's say you're supposed to look a certain way, you're supposed to be this type of artist, and you know that's holding you back, it plays with you, man.
It
Uh,
does.
you know what I mean? So I say that because I think it offers artists like myself, even the younger ones, the opportunity to totally embrace what they do. But now I also realize that you have to sort of find that middle ground. It's tricky, John. It really is, man.
It can be. I know that a lot of artists are they're forced by their producer or label to do a certain way, and takes them away from what their the creative part of the process is what they're
Yeah,
doing. I
yeah.
get that. What do you find is the most effective way to market your music? What's your way of doing? How do you find that to
I
do?
think I think that's a good question because I deal with that. I go back and forth because you got social media, right?
Hmm.
Um, uh, and you could promote through iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff, but you have to really stay religiously on it. You can
Yes.
play lists and all. You're sort of like a businessman now, record label, but and that works. It does. But I personally believe like what we're doing now is the most important thing.
Yeah. I mean, as opposed to like certain sites, like, are you into Instagram? Is that a site that
Yeah,
you?
I am. I am.
I'm personally not a big fan of TikTok, but I know it's necessary for some artists, but that's not for me.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so are you able to reach online radio networks, and which ones have you been able to get onto?
Work through TuneCore,
Okay.
music's going, which branches out to iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music. which again requires the professionalism of being sort of your own manager and following up
Yes.
basis, which is something I'm not crazy about, but it's become so much more of a business, John. I'm speaking
Yes.
honestly. Than it. I mean, it was always a business, but there was a time where you made an impression as an artist, and then it took you somewhere. It was more
Yes.
about. Now it's more like how many numbers you got, and I'm not crazy about that. I'm not the guy who's gonna sort of do the gimmick, and get the numbers way up there. And I feel like this about it, John, because it sort of feels like the people that are following me, I know are authentically following me, right?
Yes.
You
Yep.
know what I mean? So that feels good. But then I feel like I need the numbers. So it's so,
It's a catch-22.
it's a catch 22, man. And my numbers aren't way up there. So people listen to the music, check out John's show and
Appreciate that.
follow me.
So you almost answered my next question is what would you advise a new artist getting into the industry to move forward on? What would you advise them? You almost answered that, but
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to go when it comes to that. And I'm never concise. I often get criticized for that. But
okay.
I just have so much going on. I think that's part of our making as artists. We see all the colors and all the details, right? That's how we write
Right.
songs. But I would say that it depends what you view joy, happiness in your life. If you just want to
Mm,
make money and be an entertainer and you want to go out there and that's what it's all about only, I think it's short term because you see people get into drugs and all that eventually because they're trying to compensate for the feeling they're looking for, right?
mm.
I think it's happened since way back. You have to have focus, man. You have to have a sense of purpose. As corny as that might sound, because that's going to motivate you in the hard times. Look at me, John. I've been doing this a long time, man.
You have, I
Right?
know,
So
absolutely. And
me.
I'm glad to see that because um, of the over 140 artists that have performed for me in New York, about 45 of those are no longer doing it. They, for whatever reason, they moved on to other things.
Yeah.
So, it's tough because it's a tough market and you really have to stay focused on it. But if, when you have especially the pandemic, I think that took a lot of people out in that sense. And
You know,
that's unfortunate.
can I throw something interesting in there about that?
Yeah,
Is that okay?
sure.
Uh, this kind of proves the purpose theory that I have. Okay. During the pandemic, I was locked in my place and we were quarantined, and purpose became its strongest force at that time. Because all of a sudden I remember setting up the tripod, putting the phone up, and I'm also an artist and a painter, so I started giving painting, drawing lessons and whatnot.
Hmm.
And yeah, I started giving lessons and I started playing live. Before you know it, I'm doing live shows. Before you know it, I actually was doing very well during
Hmm.
the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, people were sending money, sending me gifts. I could go on. It was I was making, I was doing well, just for doing a live show, a Zoom show. And then in between, when there were breaks, I would do performances outside for corporations, whatever, that uh, people were reaching out from all over the world as well.
Wow. That's very
Even
good.
television networks like Quisqueya Channel, all the
Hmm.
way in Dominican Republic, reach out to me, and I did an interview with them, and they did a beautiful segment on my music and my purpose. And it's in critical moments like that where all of a sudden we start realizing what this is all about. See, but
Hmm.
if we can just hold on to that and realize our responsibility to each other. Again, I don't want to sound corny, man, but music is a very sacred thing to me, man. And it's so
Yes.
beautiful and it has so much to offer, even from a psychological, scientific, spiritual,
Well,
philosophical standpoint.
I'm a firm believer that it's the one of the best therapies, whether you're going through a physical or emotional situation, PTSD, whatever. It's a
Yeah.
really great therapy. I mean, it saved me from. I wouldn't be here if I didn't pick up a keyboard back in the day and start to write music. I was ready to check out of life, but that kept me from checking out. So I'm
Yeah.
here because of that.
Really? I didn't know that, John.
Well, yeah, I mean, when before I got into this industry, I was in lawn and garden hardware. I was doing totally different industry,
Yeah,
selling and servicing big box home centers and such.
yeah.
After my divorce from a 29-year marriage, I was followed by my mom diagnosed with colon cancer, my dad attempted suicide, and my brother diagnosed with Parkinson's. So I
Oh
was
my
in a very
God.
dark space. And I just happened to walk into a Circuit City, saw a keyboard, hit the demo keys, played the theme of James Bond movies, which I'm a big fan. I just
Yeah.
bought the keyboard, labeled the keys, and used the built-in loops to write my own music. That literally kept me from checking out. That's why I'm doing this.
Wow, John, I did not know that, man. That's pretty intense, man.
Yeah, I mean that was my why, and it was a defining moment for me. I said, music really makes a big difference in life,
Sure.
and
I love
I,
hearing
I
stories like that, man.
that's
Really.
that's why I wanted to pay it forward. So that's why I started the Big Apple Indie Music Series. I really wanted to support independent artists.
But we can't deny, man, that you've definitely paid it forward, bro. You know,
Yeah,
you
I've
definitely
been
paid
I've
it
been
forward.
on to it ever since, and I'm a consultant for a lot of independent people that haven't gotten that where they want to go yet. I
Yeah. Hey.
advise them, and it's what I do, and it's my passion. So
Uh,
that's me. But what would you like to share with everyone before we finish up on this interview? This is my final question for you.
yeah, sure, man. Um, well,
I mean,
I just went. I just got back from Colombia, and I
hmm
was out there recording with the producer, who's doing some arrangements to my words, to my music. I mean, and I love for people just to I like to share my music with everyone. I would ask for everyone to give my music a chance. I'm I sing both in English and Spanish, and I'm working also with Brantley Madwin, Haitian producer. This
hmm.
is going to be sort of that sort of Zouk African Latin thing. And then my own material that I sent out to Haiter Barra in Colombia, and where I finally got to work with him directly once I was there, is my own work, and we're just exploring and growing on it. So I have a lot of songs that are going to be released, and I'm excited about sharing them with everyone. And
I will share your website on the bottom when I put this on YouTube. We'll post it with your link.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I'm also in acting now. I don't know if you know that.
yes. Tell
Yeah,
us about it. What have you done anything currently, recently, or?
yeah, yeah. I was just in a off-Broadway musical called "Killing Republicans," written by Dick Zigan, and
Hmm.
uh, and that was interesting because I had to learn it in pretty much a month's time. The
Wow.
whole script and music and everything. It was a great challenge. But aside from that, right after I got done with that project, I had to I had to go to Puerto Rico to finish another project called for a movie called Brownsville Bread, uh, written by and directed by Elaine Del Valle, who's
Hmm.
an award-winning Latin director, Puerto Rican director.
Hmm.
She's had her work on HBO Latino, and it's done a lot of significant work. You know, my music's in the movie, a lot of my songs from the Faith album, and I got
Nice.
to also, John, first time ever musically direct. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'm musically directing Javier Munoz. He's the alternate lead of Hamilton
Oh, okay.
play. So he's singing my songs in the movie. You know,
Awesome.
yeah, it's really cool. So those are two accomplishments I feel very proud of so far. And also the just working on the songs, and then just always looking forward, man. I'm excited about this here.
Yeah, no, I
And
appreciate it. And I want to thank you. And then I want you to hold when I end this. We'll talk some more. But thanks
yeah,
for your time, and everyone. Check out Edwin Vazquez. The link will be on our YouTube site, and also it's on our T-BAME site. So check it out, and thank you. Take care now.
yeah.